Here's something most salespeople won't admit, that value is often a mystery, even to the customer. They know they want better results. They know that things could be improved, but they don't always know what better actually looks like or even how to define it. And that's where you come in. In this episode, we're talking about how great salespeople help customers uncover, define, and focus on the value that truly matters. Welcome to Sales Today, the podcast that helps sales professionals sell with purpose, not pressure. I'm Fred Copestake, sales trainer, consultant, and author of Selling Through Partnering Skills, Hybrid Selling, and Ethical Selling. Every episode, we focus on one essential ingredient of modern selling, so you can build trust faster, deliver better outcomes, and do it the right way. In today's sales world, it's not enough to offer value. You need to co-create it. Customers don't always see the link between what you do and what they care about. That's your job, to help them join the dots. In this episode, we'll unpack why value means different things to different people, how to uncover it, better questions and insight, and how to present it in a way that resonates and sticks. So I said at the beginning, value's a mystery. And I really need to give a shout out to my colleague, Mike Wilkinson. Yeah, he's the guy that introduced me to this as a phrase, as a concept. We were traveling together. I think it was Singapore or somewhere. We sat on the plane. We were talking about this stuff. A bit sad, I suppose, but we were. And he came up with this phrase, and it just stopped me. And I thought, well, what do you actually mean? He said, well, exactly. That's pretty much what customers say. Yeah, we've got to work it out with them because we don't know, and it's likely they don't know. And yeah, it's because it's different for every buyer, for every customer. For somebody, it might be cost reduction. For another, it might be increasing speed, process reliability. For another, it might be their own self-safety. I don't want to get fired for buying this. I want to be secure in my job. Another one might be easy life. Our job then as professional salespeople is to help each stakeholder uncover what their version of value is. That's how we move from being seen merely as a supplier to somebody who's more of a partner. So how do we uncover this mysterious value? Well, certainly questions. Many times the answer in sales is questions. But if we think about our questioning skills and that we go deeper, rather than just stopping what's important to you, what are the criteria you're going to buy against? Deeper, dig deeper. What happens if this doesn't change? Who else is affected by this issue? What would success look like for you personally? So really going deeper with the questions and the conversations we're having with customers. And then linking this to real business outcomes. Because though the driver might be emotional, well, we know this, we know as salespeople, often people are driven by the emotion. They've got to make it logical. So if we think about, okay, how can we connect this stuff to things like revenue growth, cost reduction, risk mitigation, customer satisfaction, employee engagement, those elements that might be part of their KPIs, the things that they're judged on, their objectives, then we're starting to join those dots. There's various frameworks we can use for this. I often talk about a value pyramid where we think about people at different levels care about different things. Yeah. Often people might be sort of at the bottom of the pyramid. They care about cost savings, something like this. As we move up the pyramid, then people might be starting to think about, well, how can we make what we do more efficient? How can we do things right? As we get further up the pyramid, people might be more bothered about being more effective. And yes, it's a play on language, but effective is about doing the right things. Have they got the right process in place? Are they heading in the right direction? The very top of the pyramid, this is where we talk about, can we help customers gain a competitive advantage? Can they stand out in their marketplace? Is what we're doing having such an impact on them, it's going to make a difference for them at a strategic level? That's one little tool we can use. Another tool is a SWOT analysis. It's an oldie but a goodie. And I often refer to this as a mega SWOT, because we'll tend to do a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, from our own perspective. Do it from the customers. Put yourself in their shoes, become them, and think about when they are approaching their market, when they're doing their job, where would they have strengths? Where would they have weaknesses? What opportunities have they got? What threats would they have? And are there things within there that we can either highlight, because they might not realize, or we highlight and we can link those to ways in which we can help? Another little tool that we could use is something which is going to help us contextualize what's going on in their world. I've covered this in a previous episode. This is the episode around respect factors or change drivers. So the things that are going on that are impacting them. It's happening. They can't do anything about, though they do have to respond to them. Respect stands for regulatory, economic, social, political, environmental, competitive, and technological. 7 things which could be impacting on them. We spot these, again, that can kick off a conversation around ways in which we can work together to co-create value. So one of the things that you could do is to create a list of the different buyer personas, so different people you're potentially going and talking to. And with a complex sale, a more sophisticated sale, there's going to be a number of different people, a number of different roles that you would have to engage as part of the stakeholder map. And think about, what is it they care about? What value are they trying to create? Or create, or could we co-create they're looking for? A CFO might want to control costs. A COO might want efficiency in process. Heads of ESG might want sustainable impact. The better we know our audience, the better we can realize that sales isn't like a little cap that you buy. No, value is not one size fits all. So think about it from that point of view. Whatever we do to uncover value, how we then communicate it matters just as much. We don't want to be talking in abstract benefits. The idea is to anchor it in the customer's words. So a vague, abstract, broad phrase might be, we help companies increase productivity. Okay, well, how can we make that tighter, more precise? Something like, based on what you've said about losing 12 hours a week in rework, here's how we can get you that time back for your team. Really think about what it is we've learned from them and make that part of the way we present it back. Use stories. I'm going to do another whole podcast episode on storytelling, but certainly proof points, facts, figures, data. Maybe if we're talking about return on investment, we can look at projections. Only if it's relevant, though. Tie it back to what their version of success looks like and the things that they care about and are going to be measuring. Nice thing to do is to ask them to try to define what might value look like in 6 months, 12 months from now. Yeah, what did it look like? We're sat here in 12 months. We've got great value in working together. Yeah, what would that be? What's happening? What's going on? Get the future scope. Then we can use that in proposal. We can use that in review meetings, check-ins. We've got that valuable piece of information driving the longer term thinking that we're keeping ourselves on track, looking towards, and we're building trust. So think about your last pitch, your last presentation. Were you talking about what you thought was valuable, or what the customer had actually told you that they cared about? What was happening there? No apologies if this is a bit of a painful exercise, but just have a think what was going on. So yeah, I'm always trying to keep these things short. So I'll start to wrap up and think about what we've covered. So the customer's value is often hidden. Our job is to help uncover it. There's nothing wrong. They don't know what it is. We can help them understand it. So using our deep questioning tools, using models, using insight that we derive, and look out for a separate episode purely on insight, we can help them define value. And then when we get to communicate it, we look for a way to do that resonates and sticks. Because it's using their language, it's about them, and we know it's the stuff that they care about. So if you're listening to this series, you'll know that I'm finishing up each of these episodes with a little action point, so you can take the stuff away and use it. So this week, choose a deal, choose a prospect, choose a customer. Write down what you think their version of value is. Then go and ask them. Compare notes. You might be surprised, but the best thing about this is you'll have a better conversation. Absolutely have a better conversation. So do that as a little action off the back of this. Let me know how it goes. Yeah. So if it's giving you something to think about, subscribe, share, connect with me on LinkedIn, as I say, and message me and let me know how that particular exercise has gone. I'm Fred Capestake. This is Sales Today. Until next time, help your customers see value and keep selling the right way.